I was given a camera when I was 2 years old. I was so excited by this little, these little box cameras with a roll of film in it. You take it to the drogist and they develop it for you. And I was so excited by this little camera, I ran outside and took a picture of the sidewalk. That was the first picture I ever took. But then when I was a teenager living in Israel, I started developing black and white pictures, and that just fascinated me. I loved photography because I sucked at drawing. I couldn't draw to save my life, but I always felt restricted by this, this viewpoint. It's like, okay, I'm looking through a lens, and now I've got to take all this stuff out to distill the image that I want. Yeah, kind of like what your guy here is doing right now. He's looking through that lens. He's seeing the things that he wants that are around me, and he's trying to move around to get that image right. Of course, it's a moving image, it's different. But I wanted to be able to do it the other way. I wanted to work with photography in the way that an artist works with a canvas. I wanted to be able to bring things in. I wanted to start from a blank canvas and then be able to compose out of nothing. That, to me, was a freedom. And Man Ray was doing that. Laszlo Moholy-Nagy was doing that. Henry Fox Talbot did that because, of course, all he had was a pinhole camera to work on, and he wasn't using that. So then this was kind of the first one of its type that I thought, I want to keep this one. Because I was composing, I was bringing things in. I was not working through a lens and trying to distill an image. I was composing properly. Oh, they laughed at me. I mean, most of them laughed at me and were like, stop wasting your time, Steven. You're not going to be, this isn't a career path. Mm-hmm. But then my fellow students were always constantly trying to look into my darkroom cubicle to see exactly what I was doing and how I was doing all this stuff. They were interested in what I was doing. But I come from a rebellious family, or at least a rebellious line of a family. And my earliest influence was Thelonious Monk, who lived in my house, until I was 10 years old. He was living in my grandmother's house. He always told me, he was always saying, Steven, if you're not original, then you're nothing. If you're not doing something different, then you're not doing anything. I didn't know that growing up, but I was definitely influenced by the conversations that I had with him. You couldn't help but be. I mean, everybody in the house around him was kind of like, ooh, that's Thelonious, So to a child, that was influential. You see, now you can see the development of an image. See, it's a bit raw here and hard-edged, and this is actually a negative this is a positive, so this is a negative of that. And this is, I've refined it a bit, so it's a bit softer. And then this is where it went to. I didn't like it, I didn't frame it, so that's why it's sitting in this box. And this is probably the start of that. Very Knights Templar.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time, all right? That actually I had no knowledge about all that kind of side of life.
It's
when I did.
Logo too.
It is, I know, I'm seeing this now and I'm like, damn, Steven, what the hell were you trying to say back then? you have what is called technique in itself adequate to produce an emotional impact. That's important. That's a piece of that. That is what I consider to be a definition that must be applied if it is to be called a piece of art. In other words, it must have good enough technique that alone can produce an emotional impact in someone viewing it. Now, if you take that and you add to it a communication, a message, a meaning, those two components together are what I think defines whether something is art. I had a big upset with the art world in the UK of the 90s. You had these artists who basically, it seemed to me their mission, their purpose in life was to destroy the value of art. I can't remember his name now, but very successful artist. But basically what he was doing was, taking like a dead sheep, and then letting it rot inside a frame and all the maggots and everything. And, and this would sell for millions of pounds at the time. But what he'd done is he had removed the hand of the artist. He had removed any real skill, any artistic, technical, anything, basically. He had made it completely devoid of substance and meaning, and this became what was valued in art. To me, I just felt like, wow, our civilization is destroying itself. It's destroying its own culture. It's reducing the tradition, the history, it's all being thrown in the trash, and what's being given value are the iconoclastic things. And to my mind, I just felt like that this was wrong. This was not what was valuable. This was valueless. Eventually, I got so upset about it, I actually decided I was going to do something about this, and I wrote a play about it. And the play centers around an artist, and he basically makes a piece of art which is a bunch of boiled sweets, and you just throw them on the floor. And the point being that you don't have to have the piece of art, because if you've got the certificate, all right, this certificate that goes with the piece of art, it describes the piece of art. So it says exactly how many boiled sweets you need, what colors they are to be, what the plastic wrappers must look like. And if you have that certificate, you can just go to a candy store and you can buy all the boiled sweets and put them and make the piece of art. There you go. I put the play on. It was a total disaster, of course, but I didn't care because I'd done it. I'd got the job done. And I produced this artwork. And that was the beginning, the middle, and the end of the crucifixion of art.
Heb je nog wel de passie om nog een kunstenaar te zijn?
Absolutely, yes. I really want to set up my darkroom again and produce some more work. That day is coming. That day is coming. I've already started investigating what equipment I need and what technologies are available and aren't anymore available that would allow me to do my work in the way that I want to do it. But absolutely, yeah, I'm going to, I can never let that go.
opening this box is a kind of magic. Here you go. Please have a look inside.
God, it's a whole different ball game.
Just 1, 0.
Look at this, man. This bit here, just that bit, okay? This narrow little bit, that's the camera. That's what has become of a camera. That's it.
Pretty small, right?
Everything else is something else. I mean, lens and back, and it's all done in the back and the lens. The camera is unbelievable. You know, the beauty of it is that because I now have a whole new life experience since I was an artist, I don't know what direction my artwork would go in, because it may go in a completely different direction. But it's still about the darkroom for me. It's still about cameraless photography. But what it will be about, because I'm no longer interested in the 90s art. Well, I don't give a shit what anybody else is doing anymore, because I'm beyond all that. I've evolved beyond all that. And it's just about, I would focus now just on my own creative impulses and let everybody else do what they want to do.
Staat morgen een fotograaf bij op de stoep en die is geïnteresseerd in jouw manier van kunst en hij wil dat als het ware overnemen. Wat zou dan je boodschap aan hem zijn?
Fuck off, I'm not done with it yet.
Great.
Get your own shit.
That's right, do your own fucking shit, man.
Yeah.